Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we are talking about your Amazon Echo, because what Amazon is soon to integrate into this thing might make you want to rip it off your counter and throw it against the wall. And here's what's going on. Now, this is coming from the BBC, and I thought this was actually really interesting because basically what they are doing with their home assistant known as the Echo, and I will do my best not to say the A word to trigger it, I've actually been called out on that before, they are taking one step closer to natural conversation with the Echo by trying to guess what you might say next when you are issuing a command. So if you ask, for example, and according to the BBC, very much, if you ask how long it takes to brew a cup of tea, that's a very British thing to do, it may answer, but then it may ask you if you want to set a timer. Now, the AI-powered chat service is obviously used by millions and millions of people worldwide, obviously in England, here in the United States, everywhere, and so this is actually going to be really interesting because you might actually find this really, really annoying. Now, Alexa's software, I just said it, I'm sorry, Echo software engineers and Jisoo Kumar and Anand Rathi blogged, and I quote, "With a new machine learning system, Echo can infer that an initial question implies a subsequent request. But this required, and I quote, a number of sophisticated algorithms to detect latent goals, formulate them into actions that frequently span different skills and surface to customers in a way that it doesn't feel disruptive." Now, this actually could be a good time saver overall, but that would depend on how much your Echo understood the context of your question. And so the BBC interviewed Pocket-Lint founder Stuart Miles, who said, and I quote, and I think this is a really interesting point, "If you ask what the capital of Mongolia is in the context of geography homework, the next question that it might ask is, do you want to book tickets online?" And that's going to be annoying. You're just going to want to turn that off. And I think he's absolutely correct in that. But in that vein, some people have actually gotten this feature early and they're already posting complaints to Reddit. And to quote one of the Redditors, it's just a constant barrage of asking me if I want to use some other feature that I do not want to use. Basically, the person also equated it to spam. So here are my thoughts on this, because I think we're entering a period overall, and I think the Amazon Echo is a really good example of this, of a period in AI development where it's really starting to hone in, learn, and mimic, and essentially intuit, for the lack of a better sense, the natural flow of conversation and thought process for a human. Think about it this way. If you are looking at, let's say, the development of a kid, and if you've ever been a parent, you know that you absolutely love your kids, but sometimes you absolutely want to shoot them depending on the situation, and so as they're little babies and they're cute and they're interactive and they're very dependent and all of this, it's very much oftentimes in conversation one-sided. Then they start to talk and start to understand. Then you're going to get a million questions. Sometimes you don't want to get a million questions. Why, that kind of thing. And at some point, they intuit that the response they're going to get as a toddler moving into a grade school or moving into a high school and all of that, that is going to improve their communication skills, as well as how they sense, how they read their parents, other people around them, what is socially acceptable in their circles or not, and start to intuit this. And so if you look at it from that sense, it seems like artificial intelligence, the Amazon Echoes of the world are probably more in the toddler-esque side of things. You can tell them to do things and they'll do it, but if they're following up with questions like why, or they're making conclusions on their own based on, let's say, their limited worldview or their limited knowledge of what the world is, that oftentimes can get taken out of context very easily. And so I think that's really interesting, but as it develops, as it hones, we are going to sit here in the annoying toddler phase of AI development, and maybe in 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, however long it takes, these might actually get really good to the point where you see them on like sci-fi ships 300 years in the future, where the Star Trek Enterprise computer can actually have a conversation with you, and it understands human interaction in a way that a computer simply can't today. I'm also wondering, though, how it does with various languages as well. English is a very tricky language to learn and to develop. Oftentimes we have words that will mean the exact same thing, or spelled very similarly, or we can take things out of context, or we use things, sarcastically as we talk. And I'm wondering if languages that don't have the similar kind of structure, but the Amazon Echo is adapted for, I'm wondering where that is going to go as well. Maybe it's the same, maybe it's different based on tone, inflection, everything else in a society. So I'm curious to see where this goes. I think it's very interesting. But right now, if you're going to start adopting this, be prepared to start asking or telling your Amazon Echo a whole bunch of stuff that you really didn't have to say because it's curious and it thinks it knows what you want. So that is your news of the day. I found that really interesting. And if you own an Amazon Echo and you use one regularly, would you actually enjoy this, or would you absolutely want to throw this thing against the wall? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I have test units here, but we don't use one actively for privacy concerns, for obviously, tinfoil hatted nerd here. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So let me know. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, guys.